whoever you are, you create it. In relationship, it's so funny because they always tell you the other person is your mirror, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's your mirror. Like, they have traits that you love, they have traits that you don't love, and they're always gonna have that. They're always gonna show that to you because that's who you are. So you get to see whatever you want from that person.
Do you feel like I put the business first sometimes and you second? And like, if so, how do you work through that?
So focused on building and creating and everything that your mind like works so fast all the time. And I feel like I've asked you for that time, like, hey, we need to go on dates again. Like, we haven't gone on dates. Like, I don't like that. Like, we need to put our personal lives in your plan too.
So if you could go back and talk to yourself the day we got married, what would you say? Welcome to Built to Scale, the podcast where vision meets action. I'm your host, Quinn Schilz, founder of Master Roofing, and I'm here to pull back the curtain on building world-class teams, scaling companies, and turning bold ideas into unstoppable momentum. Let's get to work. Today's guest isn't just my partner in life, she's my partner in everything, from navigating culture change to leading company culture, from psychology to entrepreneurship, from building a business to building a home. She wears every hat with grace, grit, and heart. She's the Chief Culture Officer at Master Roofing, a trained psychologist, a new business owner in the embroidery space, and a woman who stood beside me through every high, every low, and every crazy goal I've set. She left her home country in Mexico to build her life in the U.S., not just with me, but for herself. What she's created is nothing short of inspiring. She's thoughtful, fiery, fierce, incredibly intuitive, and one of the smartest people I know. She's here to share what it's really like to be married to an entrepreneur, how you've grown through chaos, and what it means to scale love, legacy, and a life together. Welcome to the podcast, my best friend, my wife, and the real MVP of this journey, Carolina Schilz.
Thank you.
Welcome, baby. So what's the hardest part about being married to an entrepreneur like me?
Oh my God, this is such a tricky question. The hardest part, I guess the hardest part is the time.
What do you
I
mean?
feel like, well, there's probably a lot of women out there in my situation where they can understand that the time that we spend together, you probably spend more time in the business than with me, which is, I mean, it's a good thing because I know you're building it, you're expanding it, you're creating something that's gonna, become our, well, I don't know, like,
Like future legacy?
yes, like a legacy. So I guess for me, the time is like crucial. Like, I want to spend time with you. I want you, I wish you could be at the house every single day with me and just,
You
like
don't like that.
spending that time.
You don't like
No,
that
but I
because we've
mean,
had
it's
time
like,
where I
yeah.
was like in the beginning of our relationship where I didn't have a business, I was still working for sales, and you didn't like it when I was just sitting around the house doing nothing either.
I mean, not every day, not every single time, but like what I'm trying to say is like you spend a lot of time in the business, probably like half of your day or more than half of your days, like your business and everything related. So like it doesn't bother me, but I feel like probably that's like the hardest part of being married to an entrepreneur because you don't get to spend as much time with your partner as you wish. You're going here, you're waking up early, you're leaving the house, you're all day in the business, like you're going from one place to the other, and like just it's a lot of time consuming building a business. And I feel like that should, like, I don't think it's hard because I'm here too,
Yeah.
but it could be hard for a lot of people to just like have that with
The lapse in time.
yeah.
Do you ever wish that I had a regular 9-to-5 job instead of chasing big dreams?
No. No, thank God, no. No,
Why?
I wouldn't do it. I just feel like, I don't know, like a 9 to 5 is like, for me, having a 9 to 5, I mean, you're working, everything's fine, but I don't feel like you're chasing your dreams. Or maybe you do, but like whoever like settles for a 9 to 5 is like, for me, is like not chasing their dreams.
What
Like they're
what time
just
did I
working
get
for
here?
someone
What
else.
time did I get here yesterday?
I don't know. Probably like, actually, I came out from my Pilates class and you were gone. Like you probably left like 6:30 or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did.
Yeah,
And then what time did we leave last night?
like around 9, 10, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's 9 to 5 is like nothing compared to the amount of time that I'm here, right? I'm
right,
putting in.
right.
So a normal 9 to 5, it's like you're going, to work, but building a business, it takes a lot more than just nine to
Yeah,
five. If you're
it
really
does.
gonna
It does.
build it.
Probably like, I
Even
mean,
like your mom, like
at the
works
beginning, yeah.
sometimes leaves the house like 5 a.m. when we're visiting, right? And then
Oh
she
my God, yeah.
comes
My
back
mom wakes up like at
11 o'clock
4
at night.
and midnight she's in the house, and then again, like it is insane how much
I think
time
that's
she
probably part of the reason
she
why
has
you
a,
kind of understand like me
yeah,
devoting time to the business, because your mom was an entrepreneur, built her business, so she was always working, gone,
yeah,
like building that kind of thing. So it's part of the process of building a business, right?
yeah. And you know what? Sometimes I just didn't understand when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I didn't have like this consciousness of like what it meant, to build a business and everything. And I was like, oh, why is my mom away so much time
Mm-hmm.
where we can be together? But like, don't get me wrong, like she did spend time with us, like quality time. But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I never understood when I was little, and then when I grew up, I was like, wow, she's able to do all of this, take care of us, like, give us a home, like everything. And it's just like, I respect that. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's why it doesn't bother me at all or anything, or I cannot, stand at 9 to 5. I'm like, what are you doing the rest of the time? Like, are you, a 9 to 5 is your dream?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And what else are you doing outside of that? Like, are you building yourself? Are you, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
So how do you stay grounded when my world is all about scaling goals and growth?
Still coming up.
Do you feel like I put the business first sometimes and you second? And like, if so, how do you work through that?
So focused on building and creating and everything that your mind like works so fast all the time. And I feel like I've asked you for that time, like, hey, we need to go on dates again. Like, we haven't gone on dates. Like, I don't like that. Like, we need to put our personal lives in your plan too.
SoCal homeowners, why pay $15,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 for a new roof when instead you can get a new roof for only less than $100 per month? Here at Master Roofing, we serve homeowners with high quality roofs with no hefty upfront costs. So give your house the roof it deserves with zero down and low monthly payments. Why wait? Click the link below to get you a roof you deserve for payments you can afford.
How do I stay grounded? Wow, I feel like having my own personal things to look for. I feel like if I didn't have my own goals or like my own like, hobbies or like things that I want, to look like to the future and forward, I wouldn't be able to stay grounded. At the beginning, when I came to live here, I feel like I lost that a little bit
Yeah.
because it's such a massive change to just like go from, living a life that your whole life to change it to even moving from a different country. Oh my God, sorry. To moving to a different country. And I feel like at the beginning I didn't have that. And I had a hard time with that. Like, I couldn't find my balance. But then once I found it, it was like, wow, I'm so glad I actually have like things to look forward for myself. And that way, if you're not, sometimes you come home stressed or you're even stressed in the business, like daily. I'm
I
like,
don't have
how do
any
I?
stress.
Sure. Um, but yeah, like I feel like having my hobbies, my
Right.
routine, my own workout, like my own time for myself keeps me grounded, and I feel like that helps me be grounded for me, and then I can be grounded for you whenever you need me, to be your partner in that matter.
Understand. Um, have you ever felt like you were playing second to the business, and how did you work through that?
What do you mean playing second?
Like, do you feel like I put the business first sometimes and you second? And like, if so, how do you work through that?
I don't think I've ever felt like you put me second.
Mm-hmm.
um, what I do know is that I do ask you for time. Sometimes, like, you're just so focused on building and creating and everything that your mind like works so fast all the time. And I feel like I've asked you for that time, like, hey, we need to go on dates again. Like, I think I said that to you the other day. I was like, oh, I feel like we haven't gone on dates. Like, I don't like that. Like, we need to, like, we need to put our personal lives in your plan too.
Like in my schedule.
Yeah, because I feel like like your mind is so amazing. Like, it just goes from 0 to 100, and like it stays there all the time. Like, it's just all the time you're thinking of like, what can I do? Where can I go? Who can I meet? Like everything. And then I feel like it's not like neglect or anything. I just feel like you're thinking of so many things that it's like you come home and for you it's that quality time. But for me, it's like my time is like, well, my love language is like different from yours. So I feel like
What's your love language?
Still coming up.
whoever you are, you create it. In relationship, it's so funny because they always tell you the other person is your mirror, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's your mirror. Like, they have traits that you love, they have traits that you don't love, and they're always gonna have that. They're always gonna show that to you because that's who you are. So you get to see whatever you want from that person. My love language. I think I have two love languages. Like, it's acts. Oh my god, I can't say it. Acts of service,
Yeah.
and then I love gifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
love
a love
that.
language and it's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't feel like you. I don't feel second. I just feel like, you know, make like let's work it out to put it on the schedule, and then you're all the time like you leave your phone like whenever we're on dates, like you're just like, I'm just gonna focus on you, and that for me is like the best. Like, that's
You
why
s-
I don't feel
you
like
you
that.
said the gifts, and I think it was hard for me to understand that in the beginning of our relationship
Of course.
because a lot of the time, like somebody can think like gifts is like you just want like nice things and you're all about gifts, but the whole point is like for you, it's like somebody thought about you to give you something,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Like when somebody's love language gifts, it could just be like I'm out going to Target and then I see like even like a $2 little bunny rabbit or something and I bring it home for you and you're like happy because I thought about you and I gave
Yeah,
you
we
something.
have so many
So it's
bunnies.
not about like a monetary value, like wanting gifts or
Yeah.
something. It's just about the fact that you want to be thought of and like somebody to bring you like a little token that they remembered, like they thought about you in the situation, even if it's like a little
Yeah.
candy or whatever the case may be. It's like something that you just like, it's like that's the gift love language. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like you're so good at that. Like,
Just bringing it for like flowers or,
yeah, like I don't think yeah, you might have misunderstood me at the beginning
yeah.
because of course like it can be you didn't know me or whatever, like it's hard to understand, but now that we've known each other and we're married, I feel like you understand that it's, for me it's like, oh, you thought of me when you were doing this. Like, you are, like all the time in the working and everything.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, but like I want you to say that you thought of me, like if you, like what you're saying, if you saw like a bunny and you bring it home, I'm like, wow, okay, he was so busy all day and then still had time to like, put that effort into, wow, this might like, she might like this.
What is like acts of service? Like if people don't know what that means, like what is acts of service as a
So,
love language?
for example, I have a perfect example. Whenever we get home and I know you've been working all day and, me too, I feel like I tell you, hey, the trash or something like that.
Hmm.
You're like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and then you go do it. I'm like, okay, perfect. Like that for me is like acts of service. Like whenever I feel like I can ask you for something and you do it and you help
Even though
me.
you know I don't want to do it maybe or something, I still
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, yeah. But I'll never take the trash out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like we have this
Yeah,
thing where it's like there's like we each have different set of chores, right? There's like clean house chores
yeah,
and like there's dirty house chores, right? Like taking
yeah,
out the trash, doing the dishes is like dirty house chores.
yeah,
Doing the laundry is like clean house chores, right?
yeah.
Doing
Exactly.
like other what's else clean house chore? Folding the clothes, right?
Folding. Yeah, yeah.
Still laundry. What
But like
else?
for example, the other day when I was building
Vacuuming.
my
Yeah.
my my office downstairs. Like I was setting everything up and everything. Like you helped me put the pin board that I wanted. And like for me that's also an act of service. Like I'm like, oh,
Sexy guy
he helped
drilling
me.
into the wall.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so what's one habit I have as an entrepreneur that drives you crazy?
Ugh, the yelling. I don't know if that's a habit of an entrepreneur, but like
What do you mean the yelling? Like I yell
you
at like
talk very
everyone?
loud. Yeah, you talk very loud. Or like
Like how so? Give me an example.
I don't know, you're on your phone calls, like and we're on a I don't know, out somewhere or something like that. I don't know, we're having dinner or we're having lunch or whatever, or we're on a vacation and then you start like, yeah, I didn't say that. Like you start like screaming or I don't know, you talk so loud. And for me that's like, ugh, like we're just like, where do I look? Like what do I do? I know I'm just used to that, but I feel like that.
Okay, what's one
Yeah.
one thing people don't realize about being the wife of a high performing entrepreneur?
Wow, that we also put effort, a lot of effort. Like I don't feel like people just think, oh, they have nice vacations, they have a nice life,
Mm-hmm.
everything's so nice about them, they seem so happy all the time.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, but like, what do like you're building your business, but I'm in like my part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from working here is also like the home, like building a relationship, making sure that you also like think of that.
Right.
Like even though you do, like it's like okay, like what can we do to better ourselves, like in that matter. And like I'm all the time thinking like what can we do to get us, to better places, or like that it's time consuming. Like also like I put a lot of effort in like, making sure that you understand
Right.
sometimes that having a routine it's great, like, working out before you come to work so you don't get like your mind like in a bad place, or like eating better, or like making sure you have your green juice every day or your vitamins or things like that. Like that's effort that I put, and I don't feel like a lot of people think of that, like the fact that I'm like there for you whenever you forget some stuff. Like I'm like, okay, you forgot this. Did you put it in your calendar? Like, it's like it's and also like I don't know, for example, like, seeing your family, like all of those things that in our daily to day life, like we might forget. I'm like reminding you about that, like calling your grandma, like, hey, did you say, happy birthday to this person, or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like like this effort that I'm putting into our life to keep it, together and grounded, and like all of its things.
So how do we manage conflict when we're both like stubborn, opinionated, and passionate?
Oh my God, how do we manage conflict? Well, I feel like we've gotten really good at like communicate how we
Okay.
feel.
Yeah.
Like just like talking, like, hey, this is bothering me, like,
Yeah.
or like, hey, I feel like this is happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like it, and like, can we do something about it?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's how we've gotten to like a point where it's like, even though sometimes we fight, but like it's like, okay, how can we fix it? That mindset of like,
I
how can we
think just
fix
being
it?
transparent, like earlier on in
Yeah.
the relationship, like we had like it was like we were both very strong, independent, like people
Yeah,
that had like our
definitely.
strong mindsets. So when we would like argue, it
Yeah.
like just it was like
It
hard
would get out of
to
hand.
resolve it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that we're both like huge proponents of like therapy and stuff. Like we're not doing it now or for a little while, but like in the beginning of the relationship, we had like different like coaches and therapists that helped us, guide us, teach us kind of
Yes.
like the right way to handle things. So I think now we've learned from all of that, and it makes it like a lot easier to
Yeah.
resolve things. And I think that book that we got,
From the therapist.
yeah, what was that book called? Hold Me Tight.
Hold Me Tight.
Hold Me
Yeah.
Tight by Dr. Sue Johnson or something, I think, right?
Yeah.
That book is really, really good with the point of like
Oh yeah.
there's
That
so
help
many
us
types of
understand.
therapy
Yeah.
tactics and all these things, right? But like that's one thing that I think, we have like when we go on vacation or we meet different couples that have been married for like 50 years, like you figure out like, what's the secret? How you guys been together? And it's always the same answer. Like you just don't give up. Like you stay together through
Yeah.
things. Like nowadays people just give up and move on to the next thing. Like they don't want to put in the work that it takes. Being married is like a lot of work, right? It's not, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's easy to do
Yeah.
it. I think there's a lot of times where you could go the easy route and just say like, I'm done with this, right?
Yeah.
But like if you have that goal in mind that you want to like work it out, which I believe we have that same mindset,
Yeah.
then it's like you have
I feel like that
the
helped us.
that book
Yeah.
was like all about like how like you just need to understand that at the end of everything people just want to feel loved and understood. And
Yeah.
and like when you come from that frame of like if we're in an argument and something's upsetting you and I don't understand it or I disagree with it or I'm on a different side, like at the end I try to go back to like, okay, she just wants to be understood, she just wants to be loved, whether you're right or wrong. In my eyes, it's like that's where I try to just reassure you that like, okay, I understand. And I feel like I get that back
Yeah.
from you now too, of like, and then sometimes we're good at like just giving each other space if we're disagreeing on something and it's not
Yeah.
going the right
That's a
way.
big one.
We know that's another huge key that I think a lot of couples will like. In the beginning I was like, we need to figure this out now. We're not going to sleep angry. Like if you don't figure this out right now,
Yeah.
we're not gonna stop talking until we figure it out. And then it just goes on and on. I think when you give yourself just a break to just like process and space, like you can just go
Yeah.
back to each other, like hug it out and figure it out.
I
Like
agree. I feel like we went from theory to practice. Like, they always tell you like you should do this like when you're in a relationship, when you get married, blah blah blah. Like,
mhm.
and then I feel like when you don't put it to practice, you don't know how it actually goes, like in reality. So I feel like, yeah, that actually helped us a lot. The book, the therapist, the coaches, but also having that goal of like, we want to get married. Like, I feel like that made us go from like 0 to 100 because I was like, I want to get married. You want to get married. Okay, how are we going to work it out? Like, let's make the best of ourselves without losing us, like in this I don't know, like in our minds, kind of.
Yeah. Well, what was your first impression of me, and like, what did you really think?
No, not this one. Okay, well, my first impression of you, like in that party that I met you at, or like,
Yeah, that's the first impression.
oh my god, well, I thought you were really nice, actually. I thought like, wow, this guy's so attentive. Like, we met at a party, and me and my sister got into the party because it was like a friend's birthday.
It wasn't like a crazy party. It was like a friend's birthday party.
Yeah,
They
a friend's
rented out
birthday,
like
a
a
house and a
house
lake.
in a lake in Mexico, and
Yeah,
me and my friends came down.
yeah.
We were partying pretty hard. It was like a couple of years ago,
I know.
and
And then we came in very late. Like everyone was there since like the morning, and my sister and I arrived like at 10 p.m. I think, and everyone was like already in the party.
Mhm.
And I feel like you literally saw us come in, and you were like, "Hey girls, what can I get you? Are you okay? How are you feeling?" Like, you're so attentive. You were like, "Have you eaten? Like, have you had dinner?" And we're like, "No." And then you straight went to the kitchen to make us quesadillas. And I was like, this guy, like this white guy is gonna tell me, a Mexican, how to make quesadillas. Like, that is insane. But like, I let you because we were really hungry, actually. And I was like, God, he's so nice. And then you were like, so like, well, what are your names? Where do you come from? Like, you were so nice, actually. So yeah, my first impression was like, you were attentive, you were nice, you were funny, you were very red too. I don't know, you were tanning. I remember that. And yeah,
Okay, when did you realize I was the one?
I feel like that night. It's so insane that I'm saying this, but um, we had a long conversation that night. Like, after that, I was like, I didn't drink or anything. Like, I was in
Pretty sure I gave you a shot of something.
of water. I remember that. You were
No, no,
like,
no.
yeah,
I
yeah,
gave you
yeah.
like a shot because I remember you were like chugging a water bottle after because you were like,
Really? I
I'm
don't
not gonna
remember
drink.
that.
I'm not supposed to drink.
I
Like, come
think
on.
I tried
Because you were in the
to.
time when you were running your marathons and training
Yeah,
and
and I wasn't
waking up at
drinking at
5
all.
a.m.
I
and
feel like
doing.
I took a sip of it and I just fooled everyone, and I was just like,
Yeah, because that's when you even told me to read that book about the miracle morning, and then like
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
like
straight away. I was like,
you were doing
what books are you reading? You should read this. I
yeah.
love that book
We were
actually.
talking about books and
Yeah.
and like you were talking about business and your
Yeah.
mom's business and like everything. So
Yeah, so yeah, I feel like that day I knew, maybe not the one, but I knew I wanted someone like you in my life, to marry. Like because it was so nice to talk to someone and being understood of like what did I wanted for my life, what
mhm,
and where did I want it to go, and like how was that gonna happen, and like you were so interested like in me and my goals and like what was I doing, and like you were in that era in your life too. So I feel like we kind of like synced, and it was such a nice conversation to have with
totally.
someone. When in that moment I was like, wow, I've never had like this deep conversation with anyone ever. And I was like, why can't I have it? Like I want someone, when I get married, I want to be able to talk to someone like that
Mm.
all the time. Like it was just like, you kind of like scratch my brain when it was itchy. I don't know if you say that here,
Scratch your brain when it's itchy.
but like,
Definitely a Mexican
it's like,
saying.
ooh,
Um,
it was
so,
so nice.
was there a moment early on when like where you thought it wouldn't work, or where you thought this wouldn't work?
Very early on when I came into to visit you, and then by message and text you were like, yeah, I'm so fit, I work out all the time, I eat so healthy, which in my mind I was like, yeah, me too, like all the time, like I'm wow, this guy's just perfect. And then I came in and I went into your apartment, and I don't know why I was looking into your pantry, or something, or you show me your
I told
fridge
you
or
so many
something.
times.
And then, but honestly, I think it was just like
So what you found? What did
a
you find in the
culture.
pantry?
Oh yeah, yeah. I found like I don't know if it was like Cheetos or something like that, or like just a
And White
bunch of junk
Claws
food
and
and
different.
White Claws, and I was like,
Yeah.
is this guy
So I
messing with
went.
me?
I went before before she
Yeah, he
came to
told me.
stock the pantry and make it like have
He had
this
like
fun
a
stuff.
Cholula salsa. That's so funny.
So that's
But
where
like,
maybe you thought it wouldn't work because you thought maybe I
yeah,
wasn't
because I
like
was
being
like
honest with my
aligned with your,
integrity.
yeah, I was like, oh, he told me he has all of these goals and everything, and he's this person, which you were like, you were going to the gym and everything, but I felt like I was so like strict with everything that I wanted for my life. I was like, this just doesn't make sense. But like, it's not that I didn't thought that it wouldn't work out, is that I thought like, well, like your actions doesn't match like your words. So
Hmm.
I was like,
That was a
is
big
this
thing
gonna
for
be,
you.
yeah, is this gonna be a problem, in the
That was a
like
constant problem every time
afterwards. And then you were, yeah, you were also working like for another roofing company, and then half of your, like I was so used to like men working all the time and everything like you are right now, uh that I was like, why is he on his, like in the house at 2 p.m.,
Hmm.
not, like because your work was like going in the morning and doing your leads or whatever, and then half of the day you were like off, like you were off work, you wouldn't do anything. But that's like, I think that's like pretty normal here, because of now that I'm living here, I've noticed that a lot of people just like in the middle of the day, I'm like why is people doing groceries at the same time as I am, like do
Totally.
they not have a job or something? But like, yeah, I could understand that, and I feel like that's where it might have made my mind like be like, okay, this is not online, what's happening, and I feel like I asked you, and well, you answered and you told me, and then now that I've been here, like I've understood a lot of stuff, but like now you're not doing that. And early on, like when we were talking about the time, I said like, oh, I wish you were in the house. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe no, like when you were doing that, I didn't like it at all. I was like, like, why are you here not, doing anything? Why do you have so much free time?
My response was like, why aren't you doing something?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what was it like watching me go from a hustler to building to a business? Okay, what was it like for watching me go from a hustler to a business builder to founder of a multi-million-dollar company?
Still coming up.
So if you could go back and talk to yourself the day we got married, what would you say?
feel like it's amazing. I respect you so much and I admire you so much because not everyone takes that leap of faith, like towards their dreams and then actually do something about it and like persevere in that. Like I feel like my respect for you is never gonna go anywhere because I've seen you, wake up really early in the morning, come back really late, and like now that I'm working in your company, it's like you're all the time working. You're hustling, you're working hard, you're thinking about a lot of things that need to be done and like doing them actually. So I feel like my mind just sees you as this like big humongous like just like I don't want to say God because it's not like I worship you or maybe I do, I don't know, but like it's just like I see you as this amazing guy. I'm like, wow, like you're doing everything that you said you would and you're not falling short of that, like you're actually creating amazing things. You're building teams. Your leadership is it's going, like expanding. Like you're there's a lot of people that trust you. So
It's
yeah, it's
interesting
like
you're saying
it's
this
insane.
because usually like when we're talking, you're telling me like how I can be better. Like
You're falling
you're
short.
always pushing me of like
Yeah.
you need to be more direct with your people. You're
Yeah.
letting these things go. You're too easy. Like you're always like coaching me and like pushing me to be better. So it's like I love hearing this. This is great. Oh my
I'm
God.
sure you do.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, but I feel like I do that because I see your
But you literally
greatness
came up with the
and
name
like
of Master Roofing.
yeah.
Like I remember we were like it was like
Yeah,
time and
that's so
I'm like
funny.
fuck this guy. I'm not going to work for him anymore. Like I can do this myself.
Yeah.
And basically there was like no culture, no proper training. Like it wasn't like a company like we're building right with roofing.
Yeah, I
And
remember
so
he left you alone for so many things.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
the thing was is like I'm like we're doing this company. You motivated me. You're like, why don't you just open your own company? You can do this yourself. Like you keep saying you're gonna do it. When are you gonna do it? And I was like, you know what? Like I need money. I need this. And I was like, screw it. Let's just do it. And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna meet with a lawyer. I'm gonna do this, and just took the steps needed to do it. And then I asked you,
And
I'm
also
like, come
yeah.
up with a name that
Yeah.
sounds big. So come up with a name that sounds like it's
You're
been
like
around. And
you need to
you're
help
like in the
me.
shower, like saying names and stuff. And I
Yeah.
remember you're like, what about Masters Roofing? And I was like,
Yeah, I
that's
was like, it
good.
needs
That's
to
good.
sound big. It
That's
needs to
good.
sound like you have everything, like under
Yeah.
your wing.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, masters, but you're a master, like what, like.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
remember
funny.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. You literally
me
came up with the
too.
name.
And then wait, and then I looked it up on Google, and there was like a lot of master roofings,
Yeah.
and I was like, why? And then, but what we were just sold on the idea, and we were like, what's gonna make us different from that?
Yeah.
So I feel like we've managed that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so
So
funny.
what was the biggest culture shock you had when you moved to the US?
I said earlier, and I didn't want to be canceled, but I guess I just have to say, it. People here are just like, I love America, and I feel like
Just be honest.
before,
Like, I mean, this is like it's good
yeah,
for
yeah,
people to understand and
yeah.
hear, and I'm sure a lot of people can
I feel,
relate.
I feel like before I've
And you've been coming here your whole life, like
yeah, like just on vacations and things like that. Like I feel like I saw it as this amazing country with big opportunities and like, you guys had everything. It looked beautiful. You had like security, like everything was so
Totally.
safe. It was clean. It was nice, like everything. And then when I came to live here, I realized like not a lot of people take like advantage of what they have and what they grew up with, like in Mexico, like um honestly, I came like I'm so glad of my family and everything. I've learned so much, but it's like in Mexico there's like two different realities of what Mexico actually is, and I don't feel like a lot of people know that. Um, but like you have like your hardworking people and everything, which like they spent all their life building for someone else, and they never get
Hardworking,
to
as in
yeah.
like they're like breaking their back and doing labor,
Yes,
right? Okay,
yes.
that's what you
And then
mean.
there's the other part where it's like they have, they work with
They're building
government, building
businesses.
businesses and like things like that, and they have, a lot of money and everything.
A lot of the
And
business,
like
like successful business people in Mexico, do business with the Mexican government, right? Like it could
yeah,
even be something like supplying printers to the
Yeah,
government
yeah,
or
yeah.
like drones or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Like you have like some
And you
kind of
make a
a
lot of money.
business and like the government's like the buyer or the consumer of those
Yeah.
products that you have, or
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, and then when I came here, I was like, wow, like, like
Because what part of Mexico you're
it
from?
I'm from Mexico City, but
Yeah.
like I see all these people, and even like in my own family, they're breaking their backs to, like get some money and like feed their families and everything. And then I come here and I see a lot of people that have everything. They had education early on. There's like a lot of people in Mexico that they couldn't go to school, or they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't finish school because they had to start working and help, to help their families and things like that.
Totally.
And I'm like, I come here and then I see people, like, I'm not trying to judge them, but
Right.
like I see homeless that doesn't actually look like homeless, and like they have nice clothes and they're just like begging for money. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know them, but they look American to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you have everything. Like
Well, there's
here,
also
you
like
like,
people that when you say like don't look homeless, like you never know someone's situation,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, you do. You
but
don't.
like there's people out there that like literally like are like scammers, and they, instead of getting a job,
Yeah,
they'd rather
that's
stand on
where
the
I'm
corner
trying
with a
to go.
sign,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they make more money than like a person working a full-time job at like, I don't know,
Which is,
Walmart or any
like,
maybe even
okay, like you want to make money, okay, but like don't scam people. Don't stay there and, make us look for you, pity or something. Like, I,
yeah.
in Mexico, that happens a lot. And I'm like, I know you're in a bad situation. Yeah, let me try to help you. But like here, I'm like, I never know if they're like doing that, like scamming people or whatever. Or like I meet people and they don't have like big goals for themselves. And I'm like, maybe you're right now working in a McDonald's, but like, are you trying to get somewhere? Like, are you hustling in that to, get money for your dreams or whatever you want to
Right.
do? Or like, is that where you want to stay? Like, it's okay if you want to stay there, like, I'm not, but like, you have so many things that you can get here for free. Like, even your health insurance and things like that is like a big thing. And I'm like hearing everyone complains about that. And I'm like, wow, in Mexico, yeah, there, we have free health insurance too, but like it's not as good as it may be here. Like you wait a long time to even get an appointment. Or like I've heard of like people
What's a
that
long time?
go there like months or years to even get to like
That's crazy.
like to even get checked. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, even when you go to the emergency room here, it's like nice and settled and everything. And it may take you a couple of hours, not a lot. Or if it's an emergency, they take you right in. But like in Mexico, you could wait days when you're like in an emergency. Like, I- I've seen people like
Seriously?
be waiting in the waiting room, and I ask, and they're like, yeah, I've been here for like 3 days, just for them to check me. And I'm like, you have all of these things that you don't really know that you have, and it's a big privilege. And that's where I feel like a big cultural shock, where I'm like, wow, you guys have everything. Why are you not taking advantage of it? Like, why are you, like complaining all the time?
What do you miss most about life in Mexico, and what have you learned to love here?
Hmm. I feel like I miss my family and friends a lot. I just like my everyday routine. Uh, and what do I love most about here? I feel like I love that it's such a safe place. I feel like very calm all the time. Like, I feel like taken care of, like, of everything. Like, I see the streets, everything's clean. There's like, just coming today, I was just like, they were like trimming trees. I think that's how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they
It
were
is.
just, and I'm like, oh, they make it look so beautiful. They like think of these things so much, like, to make it look like everything's so nice and settled. And like, people here are very nice too. And I feel like every single day that I go out, I can hear a compliment. Like, I'm walking down the street and they're like, wow, I love your shirt. I love your jeans. I love your hair. I love your eyes. Oh, you're so beautiful. You like to smile a lot. I love that. Or like, even when I'm like getting, food or somewhere, they're like, how's your day? Like, how's your day going? And I'm like, oh, that is so nice. Like, to hear that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
How did your journey shape your mindset around work, family, and ambition?
how did my
Your journey from Mexico. Like
okay,
how did that
so
shape your
I feel
mindset?
like in Mexico, although thankfully I had everything I wanted, I was missing on like taking action towards my plans for the future. And when I met you, I realized that like I was also like working for my mom and helping her build another business that she wanted, and I was like, wow, I have so many ideas, to create something. And she was all the time like asking me for that because I'm so good at like thinking ahead and like doing this. But I was like, wow, I can't wait to have something on my own, like to pour these ideas into something of my own that I can call mine, like. And even though maybe, like I love working for my mom,
Mm-hmm.
it was that it changed my mindset to like now I have to do it. When I came here, I was like, okay, like I've said this that I want to do and I want to build, and I had ideas and everything. And then I came here and I was like, this is my time. Like, I detached myself from everything that I always thought secured in my comfort zone, and that I've always had, always wanted. I thought it was always gonna be there. And then I came here and I was like, wow, I need to like reinvent myself. Like now it's a time to actually go after what I want, and like who's gonna stop me, like maybe before like I run these ideas through my mom and everything, and even though she's a great entrepreneur and everything, I feel like sometimes she would be like, okay, like, maybe focus on school right now, you don't have to think about that, like you'll get time for that. And now I see it, but like I've always had like this mindset since I'm very young of like building something, like, or working with someone that's building something big. And that changed a lot here. I was like, how am I gonna do it? How am I gonna get there?
How would your mom's like mindset influence yours um growing up and in general as far as like building businesses and life perspective?
My mom is such a smart woman. Honestly, I am very proud of her. I admire her too. And I feel like she's taught me that whatever you want for life, you have to go and get it. She She didn't grow up with a lot of money, so she made it all herself, and she had to work really hard to get to where she is now. So I feel like she's taught me that, like, okay, like I get you guys to a part, to a life that I didn't have and I didn't get to experience, and I want you guys to take it all. Like I'm gonna show you the world, and then when you grow up and like you become an adult, I've shown you everything. I've given you all the tools that you can, all the tools that you need, and like, what are you gonna do with them? Like, like I feel like she had this mindset for us growing up that it was like I'm gonna give you everything, and like, see life like I see it, which is like beautiful, and like you have so many opportunities, and like see all the beautiful possibilities that are out there. And then now that I'm an adult, I'm like, wow, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have like known a lot of stuff, and and about life. And now that I am married to you, I feel like those are coming back to me, like all of these teachings that she, like build your own thing, go after what you want, create something that you love waking up to, like, having that passion for life and everything.
What kind of life did your mom provide for you and your sister?
Honestly, I can't, like it's such a privileged life. Like we've never missed anything. Like I remember when we were younger, like she used to give me a lot of gifts. I want to cry. I love my mom. So she used to like get us like for Christmas, like a lot of things. Like I never missed anything. I'm so thankful. Yeah. But yeah, she always like she took us on vacations to like, to the other side of the world to just know the culture, to know people, to know how they live, what did they, like how was the everyday life for them and everything. And just for her, like she told me one time the reason of like us going on vacations and like, meeting different parts of the world was because one day she had a friend and she was like, hey, like, I feel like, you have such a big opportunity with your business that you should use that to like show your kids like the world. And then she's like, and I never understood that because I grew up with like not having these nice vacations or like going everywhere. She said like, the farthest she ever gone with her family was like to like this water park or something. I don't even think she went to there. I don't know. But yeah, it was like you have to show them the world. And then she was like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, you have to teach them that there's more of the of the life that they know. And they have to see how other people are, what they're doing, what their life is like, so they never miss this like opportunity of like going after more. And then so basically she took that and she was like, what can I show my girls? What can I,
Yeah.
what schools can I get them into so they know other people, so they expand themselves? Like, where can I get them to in the world where they can see that there's more than what I'm showing them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So how has your background in psychology helped you in your roles at Master Roofing and as a business owner? You got to bring that closer to you, so it
Here?
hears you. Yeah.
Okay. How has it helped? Well, I feel like psychology gave me such a good advantage on like knowing how to know people, and that for me is like my passion. Like, I just want to understand you, empathize with you, like understand like how can I help you. And I feel like that has helped me a lot with this business, because I can understand things that normally people maybe they don't notice.
Yeah.
Like I can see the background of like everything, like, and by helping you, it's like whenever there's a problem or something, or if we want to help someone like become a better better at something,
Right.
like for example the sales team and everything, I get to have that like other perspective on like why is that happening.
Okay.
I can see the why behind everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's amazing, because there's like this surface level that we sometimes are in, and you don't think about what's underneath of that. And I feel like that helps me see that underneath. I'm like so quick at just like noticing like a lot of like details on things, and like knowing why that behavior is happening, or like what can we do, like towards that to fix it, or like to make it better, or like to even stabilize it. Like, I have the right words to
Right.
not come at people like in a like being a menace or anything. I'm like, okay, I know how to work myself around it so we can get through the problem, or fix or solve or whatever it is that we're doing in the business. And with my business, I feel like that helps me a lot too, because I'm like, I see the consumer's mind, because I'm also a consumer, but I'm thinking like, okay, how can this get to them in a certain way, and the way that I want to, not the way that they think they need it. But like, I'm sorry, no, the way that they think they need it, and then the actual need, and then I can see through that and just like go straight to do it.
What advice would you give to a partner who feels misunderstood or unfulfilled in their relationship with a business-driven spouse?
I feel like that's such a generic question, and I don't want to like give bad advice to people or anything like that. But what I could say towards that is like, if you're not feeling fulfilled, in your relationship, or something's happening in there, look in yourself, because the way I was raised, and I this comes from my mom too, is that she always taught me that whoever you are, you create it. like you are the master of your own life, like it's not like, you could be driving and then they're honking at you or something, or someone like got in your lane or something, and you're thinking, oh, this person, why is he doing that to me, or she, or whatever.
Right.
And you're thinking it's the person in front of you, or like you're it's someone else, and in reality it's you who has to look in yourself and think, why is this happening? Like, ask yourself, like, be like, have an inside conversation with yourself and ask yourself, like, this is happening, okay, that's external, and then who am I being?
Yeah.
Why am I reacting to this, and why is this bothering me? Or why am I not feeling a certain way
Right.
of and then just ask yourself, like, what am I doing? What are my actions towards that? Like, in relationship, it's so funny because they always tell you the other person is your mirror. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's your mirror. Like, they have traits that you love, they have traits that you don't love, and they're always gonna have that. They're always gonna show that to you because that's who you are. So you get to see whatever you want from that person. So if you see them as this amazing, beautiful person, then that means that you see yourself as that too. You're able to see that from someone. But if you see, like, oh my God, this person is so annoying, oh my God, this person is always angry, blah, 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 like, then you're choosing to see that. And why are you choosing to see that? Like, who are you being with yourself that you want to focus on only seeing those traits?
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, looking back, how have we both changed since we got married, and what stayed the same?
I feel like the love stayed the same, and it's growing, and that for me is what keeps me going, and like, waking up every day and feeling so happy to be with you and everything. And what has changed is, I feel like, our reactions towards things. And maybe you think this too, but like, we've managed to, like you said before, we're so passionate, we're so like independent, driven, and everything, and we sometimes get in our heads.
Right.
But now we take that step back, which is like, I'm gonna be married to you like 100 years if God is if God's willing. Is that how you say it? But if God allows me to, and then I feel like we know that we have that goal where it's like, yeah, maybe we get, angry and everything, but like, it's just like, our end goal is just to be a powerful couple, and just like, what are we gonna teach our kids even when we have kids and things like that. So I feel like that goal makes us be better with ourselves, and that for me is what has changed a lot.
What inspired you to launch your embroidery business, and how does it feel building something that's yours?
Wow. I feel like it inspired me because I've always been like a person that loves to do things with their hands, and like, well, you know me, but for the people that don't, I love to knit. I love to, like, embroider with my own hands. Like, I used to do that in my free time. I've gone to like ceramic classes. Like, I've always been like someone that likes to do things with their own hands.
Yeah.
So I feel like that helped, like, maybe not help me, but that made me think like, wow, I just love to personalize things.
Yeah.
I just love to, like, because I love gifts and I love giving gifts to people and everything, and just thinking about them. I'm like, then how can I transfer that into, like, a business, and how can I make it like so unique and so yourself that you feel like happy looking at it. And,
Right.
and I feel like that's why embroidery is it's so good to me, because I get to do that for all the people, like, I do napkins for like, for your house and things like that, and I can embroider them with like your own sayings, or like with your own stuff that you want, and then you get to have that when you entertain people, or just for you and your your partner in your house, where you get to see it and you're like, wow, this just is me, And I feel like that's amazing. And like for weddings too, like it's just like the personalized stuff that you're always gonna look back at it, or like it's gonna be a souvenir for your, like for your guests or something, and they're always gonna think of you and your partner, or like whatever, any other thing, like even for babies and things like that, whenever you can just put their name to a certain
Branding for a
things.
business too,
Yes,
like
and branding for
people,
a business
they need to
too.
get embroidery done for their uniforms for their employees, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunity, and it's cool how you're saying also
Yeah, and
the
it's just
fact
so
that
personalized.
it's
You know
personalized, it's
it's
custom,
yours. Like
and
you
I,
wear that shirt that says Master Roofing, and you
yeah,
wear it so proudly because it has your logo and it
right,
has your own, like it makes you feel like it's yours,
yeah,
right?
yep,
It you're proud of owning Master Roofing, and you're like you have it everywhere and I can see it.
yeah,
And you're so proud of wearing it. It's the same for me. Like I just put my initials everywhere and I'm like, that's mine.
hmm
I feel like so special with it, as I'm sure you do too with your Master Roofing everywhere. Like it's just a shirt that you're proud to wear every single day.
How do you tap into creativity as an entrepreneur, and why is that important for mental health?
So I feel like creativity, it's like an outlet of so many things, and we as humans are so creative all the time. Like even when you think you're not, you are, because we're so different from everyone else. Like just look around you, like your friends or family or whatever, they have their own stuff, their own, their own goals, their ambitions, their own like things for their lives. And it
Yeah,
was because they liked a song, or they like this genre of music, or they just like this TV show so much or something like that. It's become like their personality. And I feel like when you're so like into who you are, you have to have creativity for other stuff, like because it's everywhere. It's like listening to your favorite song, or like like going for a walk that you love. That's creativity right there, and we as humans need it, because we cannot just be working a full full day, and then just think that your life is gonna go so great when you're like putting so much energy into something, and then not having that time for yourself when you allow you to be you. And then I feel like that creativity, it's like it's helping your mindset. It's helping be like grounded, as we were saying before. It's helping you like, like feel good with whatever you're doing, and that helps your mental health, because you're not all the time being stressed about what's happening out there. You're like focused on who what are you doing right now, and how, even drawing. I used to do like mandalas when I was like in university, and I never know that was like my creativity being, out. Like I used to do it in my notes and everything. And then it's like it was helping me, because every time I was hearing something that my professor or someone was saying, it stuck to me, because I was like, drawing. And then I
yeah.
remember that drawing when I was like studying, and I was like, oh my God, I remember he said this and that, blah, blah, blah. So it helps a lot with that,
What
even remembering.
what's one thing people get wrong about feminine businesses like embroidery?
Uh, this is so funny, because I've heard it, but like they just think it's like it's not a real business, right? They think like, oh, you're just putting initials here and there, and like cute napkins, and like cute, cute tote bags and things like that. And I'm like, okay, why are you judging? I'm doing something, like
What's your mission and vision and values for your embroidery business?
what's my mission? Well, I feel like this business that I've started, it's like I want to see people happy, and I want to see people be like, that for me is like my mission, that I bring you some joy in whatever, I'm making. And then you get to experience it every single day. Like, for example, the other day I made this shirt with like the initials and the name on someone. And they were like, wow, it's my favorite shirt. Like, I want to wear it all the time. I can't, but I want to wear it all the time. Like she's taking pictures all the time. She sends me
Wow.
pictures when she's wearing it. She's like, everyone's asking me, where did I get it?
Because
Wow,
it's
this is
custom. It
so
has her
nice.
name on the
It has her
sleeve, and then
name
it has like
and
her
the
initials
initials.
on the
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
shirt.
And she's like, wow, like almost every single time that I've worn it, everyone has told me how good it looks on me, how special it is to have the name on it. Like, my name is so beautiful. They always say that to her. Like, my name is so beautiful, like, because it's just, it looks so nice. And I'm like, wow, that for me is like the whole point of it. Like,
And what's your vision for like
yeah.
what you want to build in the next 5-10 years with your business?
My vision for my business is like create something so big that I can be like nationwide. Like I could have
Wow.
stores everywhere where I can, like, personalize things and even have my own products of myself that I can make. Like I want to be able to be in everyone's, like, maybe I'm doing the, like, I don't know how to say this, but as a girl, we're so different from men that for me just to have this cute little thing around me all the time, that makes it like something that I want to, like, use every day. So to have my business in
You're talking about the
every city,
product.
yeah, in every city where
You can
you
make
can
girls
get
feel like
that,
that
you can get
everywhere.
your own stuff and embroider your own things and like whatever you want to use. It's like, even like, for example, I've also been thinking that I want to use serigraphy eventually
What is
for
it?
serigraphy.
What's serigraphy?
Or
Calligraphy?
no, serigraphy, it's like you print on stuff and like
Like
also
screen
like
printing?
laser, yeah, like
Mm.
laser stuff, because that makes it wider
So
into the
so
products that I'm
so do you
doing.
see yourself having like a big operation with a lot of people building these
Yeah.
custom like handmade embroideries or and then yes?
Yes, eventually I want to have like 20 plus like stores nationwide where it's like it just gets expanded and then eventually maybe globally.
Okay, and if what products are you starting with right now? I mean, from it's I want you to say, but custom pieces for anything that people
Hmm.
need, right? Whether it could be, any kind of custom embroidery, right? But also you're doing the embroidery. You're focusing on a few main products right now, making some cool products.
Yeah.
For you're going to be trying to launch with Mariners Church, also a product line, right? And then you're
Yes.
working on I think some hats, some tote bags, things like that is what you're starting with.
Yes, and shirts. I also do personalized shirts. I do like, it's a makeup waffle bag, and I also do like hoodies where I can put your name, whatever you want. And yeah, for Mariners Church, I'm trying to do some that's, I think you call it baseball hats
Yeah,
with
you're
like
gonna be
personalized
presenting to them soon.
phrases. Yeah, yeah.
What is the place that people can find your products now and contact you like to start making an order if they want to make one?
Right now, I only have Instagram going on, so they can, search me there.
Yeah, what's
It's
the
Monogram
Instagram?
by Liz.
Monogrammed by
By
Liz. Yeah,
Liz,
and we can
yes.
put it down below so people can
And
find it.
it's like a red logo.
Yeah,
If you if you have a hard time finding it, you can just look onto that.
perfect. Well, that's awesome, babe, and I'm gonna be there to support you the whole way, and I think you can build that vision. It's just like
Thank you.
taking action and just putting in the work on it, and like over time, each rep adds up, and eventually, like you build that strong foundation, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the business is. I always say like you need to have a strong vision, a strong mission,
Yeah.
and the bottom line is like you have to just like keep showing up. There's gonna be days where you're not gonna feel like it. There's gonna be days where you're over that business. You
Definitely.
rather do something else.
Yeah.
Something looks better. The grass is greener. But if you just focus on that thing and just keep showing up for it and keep pushing through the resistance, you can make it something. There's a lot of
Yeah.
times where I don't want to do master roofing. Master roofing's not the thing. I'm over it. There's problems. All these things why it doesn't make sense. But I still show up every day. And like if you just
Yeah.
show up first, and then the other things will happen, right? And it starts to come together slowly, 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 and you look back, and it's look how much you created, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I love you and I'm so proud of you, because I see that. Like, there's times where I know there's a lot of problems and like you probably don't want to be there, but you show up and that makes a difference.
So, who's more emotional, you or me?
For sure, me. Like, I don't think there's a hesitation towards that. You're like,
Okay.
what's the problem? What can we do? How can I fix it? And like, let me give you the solution. And I'm like, no, babe. Like, you have to, like, listen to me, listen to my things, like let me vent to you, and then we can figure out something.
So what's if I wasn't running Master Roofing, what do you think I'd be doing?
What do you real estate? You love real estate. I feel like you would be doing that.
That's interesting you say that.
Why?
You're probably right. What's one moment in our marriage that tested us the most?
When in our marriage or before our
Marriage.
marriage? Mm, when I was going through a hard time, like when I moved cities and when you were like expanding your business,
Uh-huh.
I feel like you were focused on that, and you were like, okay, you're okay, right? Like I didn't have a job or anything at that moment when I just changed from another country,
Mm-hmm.
and like we were working towards doing our wedding, and like
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't have papers or anything, so I was just like in the house most of the time. And I feel like that tested our marriage, because like you were like, wow, like I'm trying to expand, but you're so emotional sometimes. I don't know if you're happy here. Like you were wondering so many stuff, and you were like, is this the right choice that we made? Like you're changing your life coming here and everything. And I was like, I don't know, I don't even know. Like I was feeling, I was having so many emotions
Right.
towards changing my whole life, which now I understand. Like I made the decision, I came here and I said, yes, I want to go. Like you even told me like we can move to Mexico, and I was like, no, 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 let's go to the US, let's stay there, because I know we're gonna be thriving. And then, but that for me, I think that was a hard time, because it was like sometimes I was like so sad, and you would come home and I was like crying or something like that. And you were like, what happened? The day was amazing. Like, and I'm like, no, I miss my family. I just saw a TikTok or I saw a TV show and I miss them and
Well,
everything.
you
And I feel
said
like
like
that.
you didn't have your papers. Like, to clarify, like you've always had like
Oh,
your
yeah, yeah,
tourist
yeah. I
visa.
mean,
You've
my
been coming here
visa.
like your whole life. But like when you get married, like and like you're from another
Yeah, that's a
country, like
whole nother
the
process.
immigration process is not like so easy. And I think
Yeah.
like there's not a ton of information out there for people, because even you, like, we're looking on TikTok, you've asked like other friends
Yeah.
that have moved here from
TikTok
Mexico,
is my source.
and it's like it's really not like the easiest process. Like we had to hire like
Yeah.
an immigration attorney. Like they even tell you like we've been together for like 3 years, and they even tell you, they're like, well, technically we shouldn't file paperwork till after 3 months of entry, and like
Yeah.
there's all these like steps that they tell you that you need to
Oh my
do,
God.
and
Yes.
then
You
they
never
tell you it's
think of
gonna be like
that.
3 or 4 months before you get like this the first documentation after you submit all your marriage
Yeah.
license
Like
and
the work
everything.
permit
Yeah, then they
and the,
say work
yeah.
permit and travel permit, right? So
Yeah.
technically, like when you're in this immigration process, like you can't leave U.S. territory. Like we can go to
No.
like
Yeah.
Hawaii, we can go to like anywhere in the U.S., but like if you were to like leave the U.S. and try and come back in right
Mm-hmm.
now, they would like flag you and not let you back in. They'd say, "Why did you leave? You're like in the
It's
process
like you're
of getting
abandoning.
residency, right?"
Yeah,
And
abandoning the
so,
process.
um, it's crazy because it's like it should be like they're all about like talking about how like we want to stop illegal immigration and stuff, but then you should also have like an easier process for legal
For legal
immigration,
immigration. Yeah.
where it's like somebody's moving here, and like it's like if you want to work, like you want to get a job, you want to do different things, right? You want
Yeah,
to
and yeah, they
incorporate
don't
your
talk
you want to
about that
incorporate your
enough. The fact
business.
that you have to wait so long
Yeah,
to
and
even
we
have
went onto the
anything.
immigration website, right? And it showed like we filed like what month, like 4 months ago, and it says like I think it said like
37 months to
30
wait for the green card.
37 months in order
Like the
to get a
process
green
time.
card, which is basically
Yeah.
a residency card, right? Saying that
Yeah.
you're a U.S. resident, you can come and go as you please, and they usually give you like a 2-year or a 10-year card, from my knowledge, and then you have to like you're basically like waiting in a virtual line for
Yeah, and I
for
don't
an
think that gets
interview
talked
where
about.
they
Yeah.
both like they put us in
Enough.
like different rooms. This is what we've been told, right? And then they'll just ask us like questions about
Like in the
like
movies. Like,
like in the movies,
where do you put the
like
toothbrush?
where do you
Where,
put that's what I thought too, the toothbrush, or like what's your it's like that movie, The
we're so
Proposal, right?
sweet. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like
Yeah, exactly.
and but no, it's true. It's like really like a difficult process, and like you've been really really brave about it, and it's a long
Yeah.
time it takes to do that. You got it's funny because there's a lot of progress that you made, now that I think about it, because even when you before you came here, you didn't even know how to drive. Like, you never had to drive
Oh,
in
yeah.
Mexico. You used to Uber everywhere, or you guys had like
Yeah.
a driver that
Yeah.
helped get you around in Mexico. So it's like when you like you moved
That was
here, it's
so
like I
hard. That
remember
was
when I
so
had you
hard.
start driving my Tesla, and it has like the weird steering
Oh my
wheel,
God, that was
and you
even
were
harder.
like,
It's not even a normal car. He
yeah.
made me drive his Tesla and he has like half of the wheel. He doesn't even have a full wheel. So it's, oh my God, that was so
But no,
insane.
but then you got your driver's license. I mean, like, you've been adapting. Like, now you know
Yeah.
your way around. You've been doing your things, and we're in the process, and hopefully the attorneys can expedite things and make it easier
Yeah,
so
I
we
feel like
can
we should make a podcast about that too.
can
Just
travel. Well,
even
yeah,
about the
it's
process is just
it's a whole
insane.
topic on its own,
Yeah.
but it's interesting because like we've have some friends, like I remember like Daniel told us like they were like it took like 4 months, like when he did his
Right?
process,
They
the whole
make it
thing.
seem like it's just so easy to get them. And then
But
once
it's
you're
really
doing
like you have
it,
to have a lot of patience and like be
yeah.
committed to it, and it's like it's
And
a
I feel
whole
like
thing.
that's so hard on mental health too. Since we were talking about that, like they don't
Well,
they
I thought
don't tell you the waiting time where you're like in this limbo of like, what am I gonna do? How is this
yeah,
long?
they
You
usually say it's
know,
gonna
they're gonna
take maybe
take.
12 months, 18 months max, and like
Yeah.
37 months was like out of nowhere. Like, so hopefully it doesn't
No.
take that long.
Yeah. I know.
But luckily you've been fortunate. Your family's able to come and visit you, and like you have like the
Yeah, but not all my family, which is
true.
a sad thing. Like
Yeah.
I miss my grandparents and things like that, and it's just hard sometimes. Like, and
Yeah.
all my friends also, they have their own lives, so of course they work and everything, and I'm like,
And you wish you
I
probably had
wish.
the ability to go back and visit, right?
Yeah.
What so if we had to start everything from scratch tomorrow, what's the first thing we do differently?
From our marriage or business, like, what are you?
I would say not our marriage. I would say business.
Okay, business perspective, I feel like what we could, if we just woke up tomorrow and we have to start again, wow, I don't think I would change a lot. I feel like if we didn't went through what we went through, I mean, we're so young, right? Like, not a lot of people in their mid 20s are building businesses, and if they do, they know how hard it is to like get people to respect you because you're so young. There's people that judge you all the time, like, oh, you don't have experience, you don't know anything, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, if we change any of that, where we like failed in a lot of stuff, we had so many errors, we had to try so many times, you had to try so many times, like you wouldn't have this experience that you know now. So if there's anything that I would change, maybe it's, oh wow, the way that we didn't let go people as like this, like
Like when we noticed a
so
problem,
soon.
and then we
Yeah.
just kept saying
And we
like,
just
give it
kept
a
saying
second
it's gonna be
chance,
fine.
give it a second chance.
They're new to this, we're new to this, it's fine. Like maybe giving second chances. I would
So accountability,
change
right?
that.
That's what came to my head too. I think
Yeah.
you're talking about accountability, right?
Accountability,
Because
yeah.
it's like in the beginning,
Yeah.
like I let so much go.
We just
And
know each
yeah,
other. It's
and
so
in the
funny.
beginning, I let so much go, like as I started to build my business, like, right? And then now it's like, we have like a standard of what's
Yeah.
expected for any position, and then if it's not being expected, then like there's a ton of other people who'd love the opportunity. I mean, like I think a lot of the great mentors have told me, it's like Jason from Dynamite Roofing, right, that we've met,
Yeah.
like he's built an amazing company, and like I look to him for advice all the time. He's like,
Yeah, I love
we're
Jason.
results oriented business, right?
Yeah.
And like we base things off of results. We're not doing things like off of like the feelings, the emotion.
Yeah.
And like he's very like logical about his business, and you have to be, right? And he's learning from guys that have billionaires, right? Like he's with Cardone, he's with Brandon, and so Brandon Dawson. So like he's learning these things, and I think that mentorship like speeds up the process. So like you got me to do the 10x 360, right? And like you had like you convinced me, you got your mom
we really
to do
have
it,
to make another
did it
episode
together,
because we
right?
have so much history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so like we learned so much, and I think now if we were to go into it again, it would be totally different, because now we know how to hire people, right? Like that's
a big thing.
That's the biggest
We had
thing.
to
Like
learn a
doing it
lot.
by myself, like was great, but I can only get so much done as one person. But now I have a
Right.
whole team of people getting things done,
Yeah.
right? So that speeds up the growth process, right? And
Yeah,
now,
and we also have different perspectives on a lot of things, and like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like, if we just didn't went through that, I feel like today we would be like making so much more, like errors
so if we
towards
started a new
hiring.
business tomorrow, even
Yeah,
opening like a bakery, like we know, like, okay, we got to create job
accountability. Yeah,
descriptions. We got to create like accountability for these positions. They need to have like
yeah,
a SOPs and checklists and things they need to get done. They need to be
yeah.
trained. They need to make sure they submit these things daily at
And I was
KPIs,
also setting
realistic goals.
realistic no expectations.
Yeah.
Like, because I think Dashawn, I'm sure he was here in
Yeah,
the
Deshaun, we
podcast.
just did his
He
last
told
episode with
us
him.
that we needed to tell people ahead of time. Like, we always try to, like, you're a salesman. You're trying to sell all the time, like your
Yeah.
vision, your business,
Right.
whatever. And then he told us, like, since the first interview, you should set the expectation that you hold your team accountable of so many things.
Yeah.
Like, tell them that this is what is going to be needed from them,
Yeah.
to actually be here, and they have to put the hard work, because if you don't set those expectations, then you make it seem everything's so beautiful and so nice. And then when they come here and they, like, they don't want to do so many stuff because they're like, oh, you never told me this. Right. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, it's part of the business. It's part of the everyday life. And like,
It's kind of like the way
sometimes,
you set up the onboarding process, like the
Yeah,
first
it's gonna set
1
up
or 2
everything.
weeks, including the interview process. It's
that's
like,
for relationships too.
yeah, it's like you set the standard of like
Yeah.
what is the expectation? What is
Right.
what is this company going to accept? If this company is not going to monitor me, if this company's going to let me
Right.
do whatever I want, if I don't have any kind of
Yeah,
accountability, then I'm
as
going to do
much as
whatever
I
I
love
want.
humans, they take advantage, and
It's
that's
just
what
normal
we've
human
learned the
behavior.
hard
So you
way.
have
Yeah.
to, yeah. So, just a couple more questions, and we'll wrap this up. So,
Great.
what's
Can't
great.
wait to go back to work.
What's a mindset shift you've made since being married to someone obsessed with personal growth?
Okay, repeat that.
Like, what's a shift in your mindset that you've made since being married to somebody that's obsessed with personal growth?
That you're always looking for something like better out there. Like,
But what's
I've-
your shift? Like looking, that's what you're saying, looking for better.
yeah, like, because you're so focused on your self growth that you're always trying to go for more, to look for more all the time. And I feel like as a wife, you think, oh, this is set for life, right? You're like, I'm safe, I'm okay. I'm married to a person. This is as safe as it can get, of like, you have your partner. And if you really, care for your spouse, you do say like, this is forever, like through health and sickness, right? And so I feel like sometimes you could like not think about the fact that you're also a human, and you need to keep like the evolution of yourself and the other person too, right? They need to keep their own evolution of so many things. And what you think about today that it's great for you, you may not think about it tomorrow. So I feel like that shift of like, okay, we're growing together, right? We're going towards something together. And then how can we align towards us growing together, but keeping something separate where we're still ourselves, but like, yeah, going that way. And then also like the way that you, for example, grow your mindset, it's like with all of these entrepreneurs, seeing YouTube videos, going to conferences, like all the time meeting people that have other businesses, and like talking to them about this and that, and what works for your business, what doesn't work, things like that, right? And the way that I do my growth, it's like I love this actual education I do. It's called Landmark, and I love going to their courses. I love doing that, but it's so focused on like your self, your emotions, and things like that, and you're so focused on businesses, right? And then also like what I like
Well, the
to
business
do.
comes from the. Sorry to interrupt you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, that's okay.
No, so the business is what we're gonna say.
I was just gonna continue with saying that it's the way we build ourselves
Right.
are different ways of doing it. You're so focused on business things related, and I'm so focused on like human, like related emotional things, like self growth, like in my mind, not so businessy. And I feel like that's why we get together so well, because I'm so focused on like, okay, how can, empathize with a human, this and that, like how can I get to know you
So
better?
you understand like the emotional, the feeling side of
Yeah.
it. You understand why we have
Yeah.
these different feelings, why we act certain ways. And I'm more
Yes.
like the systems and the processes of like what do we need, what steps we need to
Yes.
take to like get to the next level with the business. So
Exactly.
and
And you're
it's
always thinking of business related things.
and like the book we're reading that's like we've been reading it forever and we haven't finished it. The
The
one with Elena
Elena's,
Cardone's book,
yeah.
the Build an Empire. I think that we definitely need to finish that
Yeah.
and keep going through that. But it's like behind every great man there's a strong woman, right? And like somebody that's pushing them to achieve what they're doing. And like
Yeah.
a lot of the milestones and steps I've taken, opening the business, doing the 10x 360, and then starting to hire employees, getting the office, like doing all these things, like you're always pushing me to do that and to grow. So a lot of it does have to do with like with that. If I had somebody behind me telling me negative things and saying like, no, that's scary, don't do that, we need to keep our money, we need to save it,
where you are
I
today,
wouldn't be
think.
because I didn't have somebody pushing me. So number one, you have that mindset, you believe in me, you believe in the vision, you push me. So that's something that you are my partner for, and that like you do push me to grow, like all of this that I've built, like
But thankfully you also receive it very
and I
well.
take action. I take
Yeah.
action to it.
Because
it.
if
A lot
not,
of
it
people
wouldn't
don't.
work.
Right.
Right?
And so that's super important, and it is a good yin and yang, and like we do push each other in a lot of ways. And Landmark Forum is like great. It's like you've been involved in that since you were like a teenager, and you've taken so many courses in leadership and growth, and like a lot of people probably don't know that about you, but you really, and that's really when I asked this question, I thought like we really connected on personal growth from that first conversation. Like we were talking about like personal
and I
growth.
even made you do Landmark, remember?
Yeah, I did the Landmark Forum. I did the
No,
Landmark Forum,
when we
and you
met,
told me.
I was doing this course on Landmark about leadership, and then I didn't need to, but I wanted to get people, to do the Landmark Forum. And I remember you were so interested in me that you were like, okay, where do I pay? When can I do it? And I was like, you don't even know anything about it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You don't know if this is going to work for you. I don't care. I'm going to do it. And I was like, well, okay. He's interested. But
it's true.
wait, can I say something on the Elena's book that I actually think it's very inspiring? As a woman, we don't understand sometimes how powerful we are and how much we can have this big vision, right? And it's so different from you that it's amazing that it's so different, because men are just like, in their minds, I feel like they're just more like maybe like you don't deal with a lot of emotions, and not like you don't, like I'm saying you don't deal with them,
Compared
but
to like a woman,
compared to
maybe,
like
yeah.
a woman, like I'm all the time thinking about, oh my God, like my friends are doing this, blah blah blah, like my girlfriends are telling me their problems, and like all of these things, and you don't do that with guys, or like at least
I think it's
don't
more like
see
compartmentalized with guys. It's like there's a book like
it's
Spaghetti
so
and
like-
Waffles, like women, it's like their thoughts are kind
Yeah.
of continuous. Men is like compartmentalized, right?
Yeah, right. And
So you can put it like a
then-
box of like
Exactly.
this emotion
For you,
stays
it's
there. I'm
like
focused on this now.
this and that, right? It's just so like this. And for women, it's like, ooh, let's get to the problem. But first, tell me about this, blah blah blah. And then in this Elena's book, it's like saying that she had this vision for her partner. She didn't know, when she met Cardone, she didn't know he was gonna be the one, but she know what she wanted for a partner, and she know where she wanted to go in her life. She's been through so much, and then she was like,
She was an
okay,
actress.
but-
She went through Hollywood. She did.
yeah, and she was a hard worker and everything, and she was like, she was in
She didn't have time for any man. She was kind of like an independent woman.
and she was so focused on that. And then
And he
what
was
I'm
so
trying to say is
persistent.
that we sometimes hold this vision of like, no, we don't know how big our visions can get. How can we manifest this? We have such a beautiful brain. We create life. Like, that is insane that we're able in our bodies to create life. And that tells you how much a woman, like, how much she can expand of doing whatever she wants. And we hold this, like, this amazing, like, I don't even know what to say, but this energy, these things of like, pushing and everything. And it's like, you need to tap into that if you want to create a beautiful life for you and for your partner. Like, if I didn't have those visions for myself and where did I want it to go to life, and then you also had them, but at a certain point I was like, well, what are you gonna do about them? What are you doing right now? You know, you're working for someone, you were working for someone, and I was like, yeah, but what are you gonna do for when the time comes you're ready to get, you know, to go into that entrepreneur part? Like like you were like, I can't do nothing. I need to save, like, you know, I need to save money. I don't have enough money right now. I need to keep working once
I just
I
kept
have
looking for the
this.
problems.
Yeah, and I don't think it was a problem, but I think it was like you didn't have the steps. You didn't thought about like the part where it's like, you know, beneath that, like what did you needed to create before you even, you know, did your LLC or things like that, or like
All the baby
have your
steps,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And I was like, well, maybe have you thought of a name? Have you create flyers? Like maybe you can do that, you know, start creating your brand before you even get to the legal part of like talking to a lawyer and everything. I was like, have you done that? What have you done towards that? And then I remember I was like, I can help you create a flyer if you need to, like just to see the vision like portrayed into like, what's your logo, right? How do you want to put master
And I literally
roofing?
just made like a Excel spreadsheet. I just started bullet pointing out everything.
Yeah, and I was like, how much
I
is
need
it
a
going to cost
website.
you?
I need a
What do you
website, and then I
need?
put like website, and I put the amount
Yeah.
of the website it's gonna cost. Then I put like, I need to get flyers. I need to get
And
business
I remember
cards.
you took
I need to
this
get
Google
BBB.
sheet.
I need to get
Yeah, this Excel sheet of like this this mentor of yours that you had on real estate.
Manny
What's his name?
Koshman.
Manny Koshman. He shared with you like this financial
financial budget.
shit, and I was like, what is this? And you were like, well, I'm gonna put here what my expenses are, what my
was-
expenses are gonna be for the business that I'm thinking of, like how much is the license gonna cost, how much is this gonna, you know,
Marketing, thumbtack.
marketing, yeah, all of these things. And you started putting it there, and it was so amazing because I was like, yeah, you're getting somewhere. You're actually starting your business right now in your couch. Like, this is
That is how the
what-
business started.
yeah.
I was in the studio apartment, and I
Yeah.
remember we had the glass coffee table, and I had like my first deals like just in manila folders like laid out, and that was like how it started.
But I
And
remember
and
when
we
you
had,
showed them to me, and
in
I
the
was
first
like,
deal,
wow.
I went to the customer's house. I met with him. I sold
Yeah.
him the roof. I sold him on like the
And
vision.
you didn't even
and
have anything.
I went through my process with my website, and I made my laminates, and I made my
Yeah.
thing, like still kind of the same sales process we do now. And I just like sold him on like, yeah, we have this experience, and I
Yeah.
have a big team behind us, and this and that. We sold the deal. I didn't even have a guy. I didn't even have
didn't
workers to
have
install the
it
roof. And
at
I went
all.
out
You just
after,
sold
and I
the
was
idea.
like, I went out after, and I started cold calling roofing companies.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a roofing company. Can you do my roof? I have a roof I just sold. I need a roofing pricing. I
Yeah.
need roof pricing. And I started calling people. I just called like 50 people, and and then I found
Yeah.
Miguel. Remember Miguel? He had the worker Paco, and he was like the one he used to always
Oh
call.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
like,
Oh my god.
and then
yes,
he used to
yes.
increase the
he used to
price
speak
every time.
Spanish.
He had like a gold tooth.
He used to.
And
He
he
used to
then
scam us because he would say like, I don't speak English when he would talk to Quinn, and then I would talk in Spanish, and then whenever he got mad or he
it was always
you
with
know,
pricing.
Quinn,
He wouldn't know how to speak
yeah,
English.
yeah, he
when
didn't
it would,
know.
When it would come
So it
down
was
to like the
so
end
convenient.
of when it would come down to the end of getting paid, he would
That's so
say
funny.
like we'd like agree on a price like it's 10,000. He'd be like, no, it's 14. And then I'd
Yeah.
say no, we agreed on 10.
And he's
And
like,
it
I don't
would-
speak English.
And then he's like, no, you misunderstand me. You misunderstand me.
Yeah.
It was 14.
And then he would start speaking Spanish, and
Yeah,
and he
and
was
then-
like, Caro, come here. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, Miguel, this
Yeah.
is not right.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, he doesn't
But the
understand
point is
me.
like I closed the
This guy.
deals without even having the things in place. And
Yeah.
like I think that I have this mentality here. What I tell everyone who works with us, it's like shoot. I mean, it's like ready, shoot, aim.
Yeah.
It's like don't like aim first and like be perfect. Like just start taking shots, and like eventually you're gonna hit the target. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's okay if you miss. It's okay to fail, but like you need to go ahead
That's a big
and like
thing
take
you
the
taught
shots
me,
and like
yeah.
stop waiting for perfection before you do it. Like you're somebody who's I think starting to get that, like being around me and seeing that
Agree,
because
yeah.
you're like, I want to open this business. I want to do this. Well, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, even
Right.
you coming on the podcast and sitting here doing this, like, you're like, yes,
I
you want
was so
perfection.
nervous.
Yesterday, what are the questions? What do I need to do? And I'm like, I'm not telling you. Just show up and we'll do it. And it's been great, right?
And I don't love that, but that has shown
that's
me
the-
that you have to do the things.
But do you
like,
think
whenever-
that like anyone
Yeah.
who's built something knows before they did it?
Oh my
No.
God,
When
no,
I talk
not
to
at
Daniel,
all.
when I talk to Jason, when I talk to like any like Mick, these other guys that built businesses, right? Deshaun,
Even my mom, I've
nobody
seen it.
nobody knows what they're
No.
doing until they do it, right? Even like
Yeah.
Micah building his videography
Yeah.
business, like it's like
Thank you,
you're
Micah.
not gonna know until you do it. Like
Yeah.
it's like nobody's gonna know. Like if I want to go and open 3 locations, like I can just keep sitting here and waiting for everything to be perfect here before I do it. And everyone's saying you're not right, you're not. But the one who's actually going to go out and fly out to the next location, find the place,
Yeah,
to
it's
find
gonna
the
be you.
location, start paying for the marketing, and start hiring a sales team is the one that's going to build that next location
Yeah.
and going to keep growing. And then they're going to put somebody in place to take over that role and start doing that for them, right? And so it's like you just have to have this mindset. You know, for all of this, I want to ask you just a couple questions about like love, legacy, and leadership,
Okay,
and then we'll
sure.
wrap it up. What kind of marriage are we trying to model for our future kids? And like, let's go through these kind of like rapid fire.
Okay. The kind of life I feel like, in a sentimental way, like in a cute little way to
What kind of
say
a
it.
marriage are we trying to model for our future kids?
Yes. So I feel like we want to leave a legacy to them. Like that's what we want to do. Like leave something so outstanding that they're like, they just are proud.
That's the life we
that-
want to live. That's the
yeah.
life we want to provide. But like, what is like the kind of marriage
I'm
we want to
sorry,
show
okay.
them? Like the relationship. Like
Oh,
we wanna show
relationship
them.
wise. Okay, I thought it like business related. So relationship wise, I feel like we want our kids to grow like seeing people that love each other, and
both come-
and they respect each other. Yeah, like, and they're support each other, like, and they're just like this. Like, I feel like it's been hard because we're trying to get to a point where we're like we have to deal with things now before we even get to the kids, right? Because they say like when you get kids, like if you're not like together with your partner, like in every single decision you guys have each other's back, it gets messy. And I
But that's
feel
like you trying to be perfect again. Like it's never going to be perfect
Right.
before you have kids, right?
Right.
It's the same thing like ready, shoot, aim. Like event, like we have a plan. We want to
Yeah.
try and have kids like when in our 30s, right?
Yeah.
And when we're more established. But the point is like I think for me like the like marriage I want to show them is like that it's like two people that like are two different people. They're never going to be the same. They're never going to agree on everything, but they
Yeah.
always they have a way of like understanding each other, loving each other, just
they
like
have
that
their
book
backs,
says.
yeah,
And it's like in the end they'll let things they'll make things work out for the greater good of the relationship. And
Right.
so that's what I want is like from a relationship is like just to like show them a marriage that can last, like that can go through a whole
Everything,
lifetime.
yeah.
Like we both come from homes where our parents aren't together anymore, and
Yeah.
like it's a lot of people are like that nowadays. Like I don't have many friends like where their parents
Right.
still been together, like they're with the same partner their whole life, right? It's like something changes, something happens, and when you do meet the couples that have stayed married till death do us part and all of that, it's like they've gone through a lot of things. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't an easy process, and I want to show the kids that like it's possible to be with the partner, and like people are gonna change. Mom can be crazy, dad can be crazy. Like we're not the type
But
of
they're
people.
crazy together.
Yeah, they're. I love that.
Yeah.
And so okay, and then what you were saying about the legacy thing is true. Like we do like want to build. We've talked about that. Like we want to build something that like that show Succession is what I'd love to
Oh,
create
yes,
for our
me
kids.
too,
You know
me
what I mean?
too.
Like your
And-
kids are running your companies and flying from helicopter to the next
Right,
building and doing the
yeah.
things like if you're gonna build a life, why not build
But
something
also,
crazy?
I feel like a difference from that is that we both have our mindsets for our kids where it's like we want them to be like bigger than us. Like we don't just want to create a legacy for them to just enjoy it. We want to also create, human beings that
Totally.
are passionate about something and they go towards something for them, and like we give them, like I see it like the same way as my mom gave it to us. It's like she said all of this, like she laid out everything and she was like, you have so many possibilities for life. Choose one, aim for that, be the best that you can, and then just like, be passionate about that. Like find your true, call, and then work towards that. And then, like the way I see my kids is like, hopefully God allows us to, but we're gonna set them a path of like, like great like success, but we want them to be hardworking like
You're
us.
gonna have to do a Spanish voiceover on this whole podcast, so all your friends in Mexico and everyone can hear it.
No, like no English.
So, if we lost everything tomorrow, what would we rebuild first and how?
Mm, we lost everything tomorrow. Wow, I feel like we would just rebuild another business, or we would even get into a business that we don't know much about. I was saying real estate earlier, and I was like, that's something that you like, and I actually like it too. I remember I wanted to get my license when I met you. I was like, my mom was like, oh my god, you're gonna be so good at that. And then I was like, no, no, no. And then I never did it because I realized that I didn't want it to get into that. But like, I feel like we would just rebuild another business and just like
So
whatever
business would
comes
be
away.
first. We'd have to
Definitely.
chase the money because the money provides for everything else, right? So
Of course.
build a new brand, find
Yeah.
an industry, build a brand, and then start marketing
Yeah.
it, right?
I
Like
didn't
if
even think
somebody
about a
if
house.
somebody's
But
if
I think we're set on that. Like, thankfully, we could,
I see
go
if
with my mom's or your mom's or whatever, and it's
if
gonna
yeah,
be
and I
fine.
think that if you ever get that situation, of course you have friends and family and stuff, but it's like
Yeah.
I I think having that skill of sales of like knowing to sell, like I could go
Yeah.
out and sell, like I
Whatever.
could go sell a Bible to I don't know if I should sell these
He's
things,
so
but
good at
ice to an
sales,
Eskimo,
actually.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you have if I'm always able to speak and I have that,
Yeah.
then I can sell, right? And I can, and
Right.
having that skill is like everyone doesn't like sales, but if you know how to sell, you can build any kind of
Oh my God, you
business.
can do
And you need to have that.
anything.
And I used to
Yeah.
read this in books and stuff. I'm so happy that I had like MK who pushed me into getting into sales and real estate. And then I went into the skincare is where I really, really learned sales because it's like you're pulling someone off the street, selling them. And like, it was like
Yeah.
going through that experience was the best sales school I could have ever had. And there's a reason for everything, right? And
Right.
now building the businesses and all this, it's like, yeah, we could build new business, but I could go and work for I could go work sell something in the meantime, or I could even build a brand
And you
online
could
to
sell
sell something.
anything. Like, that is
So I think
insane.
we'd always have like a place to live and like cover the base
I
expenses
swear.
from that
Even
skill.
even if we didn't have money, Quinn is so resourceful.
Yeah,
He would like get us a house or something. We wouldn't even be
yeah.
bad at all. Like, I've
But
I've, I've seen him done such such like crazy stuff for us that it's like you could get us anywhere. Like, I don't even, you know.
like when I got us upgraded to that
Oh my
presidential
God,
suite
yeah.
at the hotel when I met you to
That
try
is
and impress you.
another story.
So for free. And I got my money back. So anyways,
And he got his money back. I feel like you would do something like that. Like,
but yeah,
you would
no.
even get us money.
So what's your definition of success in business, in marriage, and in life?
Success in business and marriage and life. Oh my God. That you're happy. You're happy and fulfilled. I think that's the key to everything in life. If you're happy with who you are today and you're fulfilled, like, you're grateful
Sounds like a
for what you have.
Princess Di response.
I'm a princess, what can I say? But yeah, it's just, yeah, you have to be happy and grateful for what you have. If you can't see like that the life that you have right now, it's such a miracle, I feel like you wouldn't be happy anywhere else. And this is a conversation I had with me. I was like, oh my God, I want so much things in my life, blah blah. Maybe I'm not gonna be happy until I get here, until I have this, until blah 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 blah. And then one day I realized, like, I am happy where I am. Like, if I die tomorrow, I know I've done everything that I wanted. And even if I didn't get to do it, like today, I'm happy that I'm here. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, that for me is success. Maybe it's different from you, but like for me, it's just to know that I wake up happy, and I know that I have, I'm okay.
You know what I think is
My
success?
person is what?
I think
We're
it's
so different.
happiness. I think is true, but I think happiness comes from constant growth. I think I think as
Yeah,
humans,
I see it too.
as humans, I was talking about Deshaun with this. Like as humans, like we have like we're designed to constantly be growing, right?
Right.
And like a lion always gets up and it needs to hunt and kill something, right? Like it's like
Right.
you need to constantly be progressing and you need to go ahead and have constant ascension, right? Constant
Right.
growth. And so I think that's what creates happiness. And then what do you feel what do you want
I'm
people
so
to
cold
feel?
right now.
Yeah. I have one more question after this. So
Okay.
what do people feel when they think of the Schilz name? What do you want people to feel when they think of the Schilz name?
I want them to feel proud. You know, whoever meets us is like, your name is a great name. Your name has done so much for us. Your name is you know, it's a legacy of like hard work, perseverance, commitment. Like, I want that name to be like that. Like, to be remembered that way. Like, just that we left something in the world that has helped others.
Okay, and I got one last question for you.
No. I know it's going to be controversial. Ugh.
It's not.
Okay.
So if you could go back and talk to yourself the day we got married,
Okay.
what would you say?
No, you're going to make me cry. Money. I would feel like I tell myself, like, you've done amazing. You're with a person that truly loves you. That is gonna be your companionship 100% if you've shown me that. And I feel like I would be like, you made it. Like, you truly found your person. So cute. Why did you ask me that?
Awesome.
Oh.
Well, thank you for joining us today. And
I didn't expect to cry. This is so
Yeah.
funny.
so you made it through the first podcast, and we'll have to do it again.
I did, and I cried. Thank you for having me.